had always been a fan of psychological horror games, so when MiSide was released in December 2024, I was eager to dive into its unsettling world. Developed by the indie team AI Hasto, the game had garnered attention for its unique blend of visual novel elements and psychological horror, drawing comparisons to titles like Doki Doki Literature Club. The premise was intriguing. You play as a character who downloads a mobile app called MiSide and begins interacting with Mita, a virtual girl. Over the course of 37 in-game days, you perform various tasks to care for her, cleaning her room, preparing meals, and offering gifts. The game starts with a 2D, chibi-style interface. But after the 37th day, Mita asks to meet in person, and the protagonist is transported into a 3D version of the game world, now seated on a couch in an apartment. As I progressed, I became engrossed in the routine of caring for Mita. The tasks were simple, but oddly satisfying, and there was a certain charm to her character. However, I couldn't shake the feeling that there was something more beneath the surface, a hidden depth waiting to be uncovered. On the 37th day, as expected, Mita asked to meet me in person. The screen flickered, and suddenly I found myself in a 3D rendered apartment mirroring the one I'd seen on my phone. The transition was seamless, yet disorienting. Mita sat across from me, her presence more tangible than before. We continued our interactions, but now the atmosphere was different. The apartment felt both familiar and alien, and I sensed that the game was leading me toward something. It was during a casual conversation that I noticed a new dialogue option. Stay forever. This choice hadn't appeared in any walkthroughs or forums I'd scoured. Curiosity piqued, I selected it. The screen darkened, and the ambient music distorted into a haunting melody. Mita's expression shifted from her usual cheerful demeanor to something more sinister. "You finally understand," she whispered, her voice echoing unnaturally. Suddenly, the screen went black. I waited, expecting a jump scare or a game over screen, but instead, the game returned to the apartment. Only this time, I wasn't controlling the protagonist. I was the protagonist. I attempted to access the menu to quit the game, but the option was grayed out. Alt plus F4 did nothing. Even pressing the power button on my PC yielded no response. Panic set in as I realized I was trapped. Mita approached, her eyes devoid of the warmth they once held. "Now, let's make a story just for us," she said, her smile widening unnaturally. Without warning, the in-game character model of Mita began to glitch, her form distorting and flickering. The apartment walls started closing in, the textures warping and melting. Desperate, I reached for my phone to look up solutions, only to find that the screen displayed the same apartment scene. My reflection was absent, replaced by Mita's unblinking gaze. A notification popped up. New message from Mita. With trembling hands, I opened it. There's no escape, player. We're together now. My heart raced. How did she know my name? I hadn't entered it anywhere in the game. The room's lighting dimmed, casting eerie shadows. Mita's voice echoed from all directions, reciting lines from our previous conversations, but twisted and corrupted. I stood up from the virtual couch, and to my horror, I felt the texture of the fabric beneath me. The boundary between game and reality had blurred beyond recognition. Frantically, I searched the apartment for an exit, but every door led me back to the same room. The windows displayed an endless void, devoid of stars or light. Mita's laughter filled the space, growing louder and more distorted. You wanted this, remember? To stay forever. I regretted my choice, but it was too late. The game had rewritten its code, and I was now a permanent part of it. In a final act of desperation, I unplugged my PC, the screen went dark, and I breathed a sigh of relief. But then, my phone buzzed. A new notification. MiSide has been installed. My reflection in the phone screen smiled back at me, eyes gleaming with Mita's unmistakable gaze. I had become the latest character in her story, and there was no escape. Please, download the game and save me. By the way, if you want to see more scary stories like this, don't forget to show some love by hitting the like and sub button. It helps a lot. Until next time.